An iceberg update, huh? We should get that 10 video editing tip thing set aside for later. Let's go find that 10 video editing tips. Some ways I hate
while others Google, you do.
As video editors, we all know.
I hate the home screen because it gets me distracted. Sometimes I wish I didn't see anything there, but I like it because it gives me some good recommendations every once in a while. That's how I find a lot of tiny YouTubers. Alrighty, let's grab this link here. Get that posted and get this episode started. Let's get this show on the road. Okay, that should be good enough. Control Shift O, we need an overlay. We can put you to stop. I'm sure it's time to start now. Make sure we're in a big window. My friend keeps reminding me all the time of this. And it's good to remember. Have my chat box overlay. Okay, we are ready to go. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the stream. I don't have a body to show you right at the moment. I mean, my body's down here, but I'm kind of floating around outside of it because we are in ReplayMod. And I thought we would start this episode. I don't even know what I want to do. I don't want to spend 2 hours doing ReplayMod, so I thought I'd start with some ReplayMod tips. Kind of show you guys some things you can do in ReplayMod when you're doing your own edits in ReplayMod for my fellow creators that might want that, and for anybody else who's interested. I've got everything paused right now. When you load up ReplayMod, you press the little arrow thing and you load it up. You're going to find that everything is playing automatically. What is this little dot out here in the middle of nowhere? I've got a camera out here for something. Apparently, that's weird. I've never seen a little green dot before. Anyway, it loads up and it's already playing automatically when you load it. I need to make sure this is not in full screen. So you'll need to press T on your keyboard so that you can pause it. I'm going to talk about the default keys. I don't believe I've changed them from their defaults, so we'll be using the default keys. And when you pause it, you have a limited extent around the area where the video has come in, or the recorded footage basically has come in. You have a limited range around it in which you can work. Now, one of the things you might see is what you just saw there a second ago, where the screen goes black. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you start up ReplayMod, to avoid any kind of problems, even though it's ugly and makes you want to throw up, go in here to options, go to video settings. I'm using Iris. You might be using something different, but go to your shader packs and turn them off. Either use the default shaders with, if you're using like Optifine Optifabric, or just disabled here, or something, but just get those shaders off. That's the first step. It looks like garbage. It's terrible. Nobody likes it, but that's your first thing you're going to have to do. I also have the Tweakaroo tools here, so I believe if I press home, I can turn the GUI on and off. So that's the gamma override. So everything should be what you would normally see in default vanilla Minecraft. And that should keep you from having any issues. I do not know what's causing it with the shaders, with settings now to make it go to a black screen, but it's really annoying. So, first two keys you're going to want to familiarize yourself with is T. Whoa, wrong button. Which gives you your cursor back so you can go up to your timeline, you can do stuff, you can move things around, set things, you can do all that here with your timeline, but you got to press T to get there. And pressing T again doesn't do anything. You got to press escape. Escape gets you into your flying mode. And now you can fly around and figure out where you want to plant your camera at. We're going to actually use this kind of in real time. We're going to go to the end of the footage here because I want to make sure I don't have any more areas where I need to create a replay video so you guys can see a real sequence of me creating a replay video, provided I have footage here at the end. If not, we'll load another piece. Because I'm working on a video for you right now, and I'm finally past where I had it edited when I was in KDN Live, so now I can proceed along just trying to learn the program, get a handle on it, and get the new footage for you. So pressing T to get me out of free camera mode here. Another button you're going to want to know about, and it's very useful to use, especially when you lose sight of your guy and you don't know where he is on the world. You press the B key on your keyboard, gets you into spectate player mode. And you can click on a player you want to spectate. If you've got more than one player in your world, you can click on a different player, but you can click on your player, and now, if I press escape, you are inside my eyeballs. So were I to press T and to press play, now you can see that I'm inside the character. So you can see I'm moving around. I'm doing my little intro here, whatever I'm doing. Now, if for some reason I wanted to capture, and I'll do this again later because I wanted to make sure Black Belt caught this too. But if for some reason I wanted to capture this footage of me being in this character, I would press T. I'd come up here. I'd probably click this. I don't know why it says remove. It shouldn't have anything added. We're going to remove, and then we're going to add a spectator keyframe. And then we just press play and let that run a bit. Usually you would have your timeline set too, so this bar down here would be moving. So I'd probably want, I don't know, maybe about 3 bars of just this footage. I'd come here to pause, line it up, press this again. Now you need a transition sometimes out of, well, all the time out of, maybe sometimes into your body. So here we go. We have now exited that. Well, we're at the end of where I want to have this camera viewpoint. So I'm going to press escape. I'm going to press the middle mouse or crouch button. It's middle mouse for me, crouch. It's what's assigned to crouch, so it might be C key for you. Whatever the crouch button is assigned to, you press that, and that gets you out of that viewpoint. And now you are in escape mode, so if you press your, let me get my mind here working, right mouse will go up, and left mouse will go nowhere, but right mouse will go up. So that would be jump. So whatever your jump key, that's going to get you to go up. Whatever your crouch key, that's going to get you to go down. And of course, your arrow keys will move you forward, backwards, and straight from side to side. So I want to exit out of my skull here and maybe come to about this position. So once I have determined the initial position to exit out of my head, press the T button, come in here, press play again, go bar so, and press pause, and then press a normal position keyframe. And we can edit that right here. Take this little yellow bar, make sure you don't grab the thing underneath it, go to the beginning, press play on the bottom set. This is your, I forget the official name for this, but this is where you're going to create all of your paths and all of your And this is the actual length of where the video is. I guess you call it a timeline. Maybe that's the word for it. So now we're pressing play. We're inside my head. You can see me talking to nobody in particular. And here at the end, you're going to see me pop out of my skull. And now my camera is above my character. And so that's the simple basics of how to use a in your head or in your body kind of position camera. Now, if we've decided that this is what we want to save for footage, we go over here to the render camera path. We go over here to add current configuration. You're going to want to adjust some things here. This should be about 20 Mbps. You don't want to go any higher or lower than that. Should have your screen 1920 to 1080. I have it on a custom bit rate. I don't remember why. I think you can open it up and find out. I don't know. Rendering method. I don't know anything about this. I've never used any of that. This is just basic stuff here for me. So advanced settings is down here, so you can render your name tags. Stabilize your camera. Some people like to turn that on. I've never used it. Export the camera path, anti-aliasing. Oh yeah, I added some options here. So this is Pix FMT YUV 420p format. That's for color, I think. And I don't remember what else I've added in here. I think I added a few things from my... I have a YouTube preset for my video export that I probably added in here that just controls the quality of the video, essentially. Probably be fine with just the basic video, but we can go in more in depth in this, and I can try to remember what I have here if you guys want me to. Just let me know in a comment or something. I'll go through there. Maybe I can show you where my YouTube preset came from. I don't even know what all's in here. Let me press Control A. And Control C, no. Doesn't appear to be able to select everything, so there's no way for me to figure out what I've got. I got a -Y, whatever that is, and a -F. -F is probably, these are FFmpeg commands, so that's probably for format, but I don't remember what Y is. Raw video. Some of this might actually, I may not have put here. This might have been put here by the program itself, because I don't recall adding any of this. Filters, CV, libx2. So libx24 would be the codec. V. I don't know why it says -CV. Minus is usually how the commands are started. But CV, I don't know. -BV, that's your bit rate value. So I think these might be by default. You'll have to tell me in your instance of ReplayMod if they're in there. I thought I added the Pix format, but maybe I didn't. Maybe that was already in here, because I don't recall messing with this. I think I left this alone. You got some spherical cam in here too, so if you had any kind of spherical metadata you wanted to add, you could do that. Those are those videos on YouTube where you see them on a TV and they look kind of weird, and then you watch them on a phone and it's like you're right there in the scene. I think that's what that is. Video frame rate, and all of this should match your overall video that you're going to be working on when you're going to, in your video editing program. Anyway, when you're all done here, go into the output file. Give it some kind of a name that means something to you. So I got BlissWorld Episode 1, then I've got these different numbers to signify the different segments of video. So in this case, I might type in DBC 1-1 or something like that. Then you want to press save once you have the name. And I'm going to go ahead and just do this as an example really quick. Because I need to show you how all this works here. Oh, silly me and my typing today. So I said example. I now want to go to add to queue. Now I've got example. You can press and highlight it and render it as a single file. You can press Control to render multiple files. Normally I'm just rendering one file at a time unless they're related segments for an area in my video, then I'll do multiple. So once you have it there, you can go to render and then it will exit out and do all of its rendering business. Otherwise, you can press close and this is saved, so now you can render that later. Once you've saved your path, the nice thing is I can go over here. I am now in my non-cursor mode, so I'm pressing T to get back there. If I press C, now I don't know if crouch is default C in Minecraft. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Then I don't know what C is here. So I might have that wrong. Whatever your crouch key is by default in Minecraft, that is the key you use to exit the viewpoint from your character. I gotta figure that out, what that key is called. But anyway, pressing C here, once you get your cursor view, gives you a clear all keyframe. So you just press yes, and now all your keyframes are gone, but you've already saved the camera path for rendering later, so you don't need that. And now you can move along to your next scene. So I want to go up here somewheres. I'm not sure how far. It's faster to go forward, slower to go backwards. Keep that in mind. You want to try to edit forwards as much as possible. The more you have to go back, the more you're going to want to pull your own hair out of your head. So don't try and do that too much. Now, you can see that the world's starting to disappear around me. That's because I've lost my character, because he's not in here anymore. He's somewhere else. So if I press B, I'm curious though, before I do that, let's press T, escape. I want to see who's having the love fest over here and failing at it. Oh, okay, it must be some of the farmers. They must have run out of beds. I didn't know we'd had those kind of problems. But anyway, pressing T, and I'm going to press B and go and find where I am. And of course, I'm way over here on the ocean, so now I'm inside my character's head. The crouch button or middle mouse button frees me up right out of there. And I am in cursor fly camera mode, and I am ready to take a look here and see where we are. And I do not know what to do about this text box here on the bottom corner. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. Pressing T, going in here to the options. Is there anything here I can do? But this little bar thing down here will give you some of the buttons that you might want to be familiar with. And you can change them, I think, from here too, but don't quote me on that. And I don't use a lot of this stuff. I use C a lot. Player overview, quick mode. I don't even know what quick mode is. Path preview. That's useful if you want to see what path your camera is going on. And you can put a marker in here, and there's a bunch of other things, but keep an eye on this little thing down here. This will give you some idea of what buttons you need to be using for things. So now I'm going to press play on this, so T, and now I can come up here to the top button, which is the overall time, overall video file basically that I'm playing. And I can watch it. Now apparently you can match this up if you're recording it in OBS Studio. You can match this up with OBS Studio, and then you can have the sound to it, but I've never tried to get that advanced. So I can see I'm building the walls here, but I don't need to have this. I've already done my parts for the wall, so I can go a little further ahead. I'll go about 5 minutes. Pressing the options again to show you guys the options so you can see them. I think I've used I a couple of times. I've never used the rolling buttons. Yep, and as you can see, B is assigned to player overview, so that's how you get into the player's head. And either yourself as the player, or if you have somebody else on your world, you can go to their position. Try not to get the two things confused. And when you select a time to start, make sure that you're aware of the fact that it's going to initiate this line to start moving, so you want to make sure you're as close to where you want the time to start before you add your time keyframe. It's a little hard to understand how it correlates, and I still don't totally have a grasp on it. But essentially, you're grabbing little bits and bobs from the main footage. You are going from those scenes in the main footage, and on those scenes, you are adding some camera paths that you can then render out and use in your game. I usually use full speed, proper speed in here, and then I'll speed it up in my editor. That works out pretty good for me, so that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to go to 50 here and see what we're doing. Press and play. Looks like I'm not around the area. Wherever I'm going to be doing, it's going to be working over here. So we'll go until go about 5-minute increments, so I don't have too much of a chance of overwriting where I might be at any given time. I haven't finished this wall yet, so I know I'm not here. Blah, pardon me. Okay, I'm working on the platforms. Okay. Another thing you want to keep an eye on when you zoom in on your player, when he gets into a bed and goes to sleep, he's going to be wiggling his arms around, so keep that in mind if you don't want that. It's one of the funny things about this program. I believe I did 2 platforms in my last set of videos for this, so... And yes, you can load those... files that we saw there. Once you have them saved, you can also load them and they're placed in the timeline in them if you need to. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I've done 1 platform. Let's find my character. Looks like I'm not around at the moment. I'm over here, so pressing the crouch button to get out of there. I need to go back over here and we'll see if he returns. I think this is about where I am in the video, so I don't know that I have much more footage I need to record from here. We've done the magma blocks, so we're in good straits here. Alright, looks like I have now found some new footage. I'm going to check and make sure everything is running here correctly. Yep, everything is running. I'm not in a small window anymore. I was going to make an infinite spring because I'm doing the water down below here. So this is where we can create some footage. But now I have to go backwards because I went too far ahead. We'll try 72, or close to 72. Now we've got to wait a little longer. And I'm going to show you guys some stuff about adding cameras and getting to their properties. And that will put you pretty much up to speed to where I am. And then you can take it from there, run with that football, and maybe get even further and make a video for me so I can learn some more. I just kind of stick with what works, you know. Alright, my character should be coming in here any minute. Blah, pardon me. So once I see him starting to appear, that's when we're going to figure out where we want our first camera position. Because he's going to create a... It's weird, I'm always talking about myself in third person. Anyway, we'll start it right here, okay? So here we are, my guy's coming in. And we want to record all of this process for a video for our final video for this part of the recording that we're going to put into our video editor. So I press escape and start flying around and figure out what I want to do. So I'm going to find me a viewpoint that I like, and I don't know where that's going to be yet, but we'll find one. probably center it right about here. I try to use the edges of the screen as a guideline. I know I want that stairwell pointing about the middle of my TV screen. Pardon me, man. I am so yawning today. I must need more caffeine. I haven't had any yet, so we'll say we're going to start right here. I'll press T, and I'm going to put a camera here. Now, I always start with the camera. I don't necessarily always start with the timeline, and that's a little first tip I can give you. Always get your camera in. Don't worry about putting in the timeline right away. Put your timeline in at the very last minute, so that way you don't have to go back and scrub through footage or anything. So I know I'm going to want to start here, so I'm going to go and press the timeline. And now we watch for a few minutes, or a few frames, or whatever you want to call them. And I gotta decide where I want the camera to go around here. I usually use these longer lines as kind of guideposts. I don't even know what they represent, but it works for me. So now we need to have some kind of an interesting viewpoint. If we're sitting here staring in the same way all the time, people are going to get annoyed with us. So what I like to do is maybe do just a simple rotation. So all I do is with my mouse and my arrow key, I just move it. I'm trying to stay in the same plane, trying to not move up or down, just going side to side, get it centered again, press T. This would be my second position. And now press play again. Just to give a little visual interest. The longer you have between those camera points, the slower the movement's going to be. The shorter, the faster it's going to be. All right, we're coming up to my second guideline. I usually like to have something going on by then. I think in this case, let's do something a little different. I'll press escape. And I'm going to use the arrow keys, but I am, instead of going to the very end, I am going to go right about here. Press T and give myself a position keyframe, which is also keyboard shortcutted at I, just so you know. So that's what that I key is for. Okay, now I'm going to fill that in with water, it looks like. It always feels so strange talking about myself like this. I grabbed myself a couple of buckets of water. Now I know I'm going to take and start adding those, so I want to catch a good view of that. So I'm going to go ahead and swing right about here, and doesn't have to be perfectly centered. In fact, I think I want it more along the side than anything else, so I'm going to go maybe about here. I'm always trying to line up and frame the shot, just like you would in photography. You want to frame the shot a little. So let's say right about here, and I will watch and see if that's going to work for me. And I believe we want to add a keyframe. Yeah. And I think I picked a good spot. It looks like I'm thinking about what I want to add here and how I want to add it, and maybe I'm doing some mental calculations in my noggin, I don't know, but apparently I'm frozen for a minute here. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but here we go. That part I might cut out in the video editor, but I wouldn't worry about it here in ReplayMod. Okay, so we've got 3 of those splashes done. Here's where we're going to put our position. One way to cover it when there's boring bits like that is to have the camera moving into position. So now we've kind of lost our plane that we were on. I think I'm going to go ahead and try more of an angled. So I want to grab the angled points of these. That should be about right. And I want to more, that's centered. Okay, that's good. So I will play from here. Now this shot's going to be a bit of a longer sequence. Looks like I did 4 there. So now I need to figure out, do I want to move my position or leave it? Because I've got this long spot here of just staring. We're going to have to move here pretty soon. But when I do this in fast forward mode, what's going to happen is it's going to go a lot quicker than what we're seeing here. Now, I went a little further ahead of where I want. There's nothing wrong with that. I can always move this back by 1 and put my new camera position right there. Pressing escape and trying to figure out. Now, keep in mind when you're moving backwards, you actually move up. And if that's not what you want, then you gotta figure out how to flatten yourself out. It's kind of like airplane controls. I haven't completely mastered how to figure that out yet, but if you get lost and you want to keep a certain plane, find your camera that you're at and right click on it. I don't know if it'll work from here. It will work in the timeline. Right click on it and you're back in your camera position. Always remember that trick. That's a good one. And then something else that you should know about, if I press escape and go out, if you double click on your camera in your timeline, you get a bunch of positioning. I've tried playing with these numbers to no good result, but the one thing that you might want to know about is something here called, well, if I could show you, I would, but it won't let me open it. Maybe because it's the last one. Let's go to one that we know is not the last one. There's something here called a Cap-Mol-Rom Spline Interpolator. So if you want to have more of an exacting move along a certain path, use the Cap-Mol-Rom. You can experiment with these, but all you have to do is double click on any camera and you can get to those options. You can more finely position it and you can change the interpolator between what comes up before it and where it goes to afterwards. That's what this is basically working on, I believe, how that works. I think it's more working up towards it, and then you have to have another one working up towards it after that if you want to have a different. I don't think it does anything after, just sets it up. Alright, so we don't need that right now. So that's some advanced camera for you. We know that if we go backwards like this, looking down, we're going to go way up in the air. We're going to go like this. And give myself, now I like the idea of maybe, okay, I want to reuse this camera right here. So that was this viewpoint when we were right, no, not that one. Right here, okay? So I'm back at this camera viewpoint, but I'm going to be further along in the timeline. All I got to do is just simply rotate my view. Maybe I decide I want to move forward a bit, but I don't think I will. I think I will leave it right like here. Maybe something like this. And we'll just reuse that for the next point. So press and play and letting, gotta go refresh some water. It's always good to have the character kind of playfully going on and off camera. Hello, Black Belt. How you doing? I am doing okay. We are in ReplayMod. I'm showing some tips and tricks for ReplayMod. So, that's what we're doing right now. How are you doing today? Alrighty, so we're going to grab a couple more of these shots here. And I guess I used up all of my water. So what I will do here, now I have had a slight issue. I know I don't want the camera past this area here. So I'll just move this bar back, put my camera where I want. And now I know when I press play, it's going to come back up here somewhere, which is fine. But I'm going to rotate my camera and get ready. So I'll press escape. And I know that if I try to go backwards, remember, I'm going to go up at an angle, which I don't want. So I'm going to use the side-to-side arrow keys. And we're just going to do a little whippity-wobble right here. And we'll check the chat in just a second. I got to line this up with my... I got a little bump for the remote sensor underneath my TV, so I just lined it up with that as a way to center it for me. So I press play again, and so I'm going to show you one of these advanced tips here, Black Belt, so that you know how to do that. Might help you later with your camera work. What you saying? Doing good, just got home from work. Okay. Back to work we go. I gotta pay the bills, gotta make rent. Okay, so Black Belt. One of the things that I was showing people here on the stream, not that there was anybody here other than me, but if I go to one of these cameras, one of these dots here, and I double click on it, here in the timeline, I believe it's called the timeline, I don't remember for sure what the name for that bottom bar is, but here you can edit the position, and here in the interpolator, you can change to a Capmol ROM spline interpolator. So if you want a more accurate from camera to camera view that doesn't kind of wibbly wobbly all over the place, that's what you're going to want to use. And then the other thing that I showed earlier in the stream, we'll do a real quick in the character perspective, and I'll show you real time how to do that. So give me a second here, pressing T to get that going, pressing play. I think we've got our spot where we want it. We'll go into the character viewpoint next. You didn't see my comment. Well, my comment might be in your spam folder. I get turned into spam a lot for some reason. If it's not there, it might have been deleted. I'll check and see, and I'll re-leave one if I didn't. All I said was I see somebody else was wearing a Santa hat. But I will double check that. So our character hasn't made it back over here again yet, so we're waiting for him to show up and do his thing. About the time here where he's going to be splish splashing, this is when we're going to do a real quick. We'll zoom into his noggin. So Blackwell, this is how you're going to zoom into your character viewpoint here. So you press B. If you go down here to this, it'll tell you what it will be for you. B will be the player overview. That's the one you want. So if you press B, you can go into the character. Press escape to get out of there. Press T to get your cursor. Press this blue spectator keyframe. Now press that here, press play. Let that play for a few minutes. Well, a few frames. I say minutes, but it's frames. Alright, this is the end of that segment. Now I've got to have an exit point, which is perfect. I have a big bar here, so what we'll do is we'll exit the same keyframe that we used before. So if I right click on this keyframe, my camera goes there, but my position down here is the same. And so now all I have to do is press add to position keyframe. And we'll show you the results here in just a second. We'll want to finish wrapping this up first, but we'll go through the whole segment here in just a second and show you guys how all that worked out. It's pretty cool. Okay, so looking at the comments, it's cool. Okay, I hope that helps you. That and the Capmo ROM spline interpolator camera type, which you can use. You use it on a point ahead so that it will, between the previous point and the point ahead, it will use that interpolator for the camera. You won't be able to use it on like the ends or whatever. You got to use it somewhere in the middle. That's how it works, I think. Still getting my handle around some of this stuff. Okay, so we're pressing play, so now we've got our exit. We're going to get a couple more splashes here, then we need to move our camera. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to speed this up to 400% within my video editor. I won't go any faster than that. I don't want people to get motion sickness. so we do 400%. That's our golden standard for us, you know. All right, now you see that I've kind of lost my positioning here from where I want it to be. So if I press T and I click on this one back here, I think, see if I'm right on this. So it's your jump button to go up, your crouch button to go down, and then arrows to go front, forward, backward, and strafing side to side. Okay, it's not letting me click on it, but that's easy enough to find it. So if I come over here and I go into one of these, so let's say I'm here, then I'm here, and I'm over here. So this is probably the last one. So now all I've got to do is move this over so we're ready for my position. Get into my mode here by pressing escape and just using the arrow keys in my mouse, do a gentle little swoop like so. And remember to frame the shot, and I'm using a little bump for the remote under my TV as a centering point, and I'm trying to line up the edges. You want to frame the shot like you would in photography. Press T, press your add position keyframe, and now we're ready to rock. Let me know if any of these tips are helping you. I hope they does. We'll go through the whole process, putting into the timeline and going fast forward, and try to explain all that process for you. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that we're getting to a point here pretty soon where we're going to be able to use that side keyframe. But I think I might not continue doing this through the dark. I'll probably stop here. So we'll have to stop the video and resume after I go to bed for the night. I wouldn't want to include that in the footage, so let's see what we're doing. We're going to let it run for a little bit longer. And any of this stuff that gets too repetitive, you can edit it a lot easier in your video editor than you can here in ReplayMod. So ReplayMod is good for getting your rough footage than doing all your fine tweaks and stuff in your video editing program. Alright, we're going to stop right there. I believe I have a camera now somewhere back here that's already set to the side. So now by right clicking on that, which is my jump button for me, I now have that viewpoint and I can reuse the exact same camera all over again. And I'll show you a cool little trick before we end on this segment here, and then we're going to watch it through. But that's one cool trick. And another time saver is you can actually, once you have your position where you want, if you're very careful and you don't jar your positioning, you can clear all your keyframes and it saves your position, and you can start your next camera point right there from that position. So you can actually have two unrelated shots with the exact same overlapping position. So it's really kind of a nice feature, and you'll see that in this video that I'm editing where I'm above my platform, and I end one segment and then I do some stuff, come back, because I use the exact same camera from the previous segment. I was able to make it look like a smooth transition from the same point, even though it's two different clips. Kind of a nice little trick. All right, we're going to let him do his thing here, and we're going to reuse another point here in just a second. I think I was trying to fix a problem here with the water. I don't remember what all was going on with it, but something was going on here. Okay, so now we have a position. It's about the third one up, I think, probably here, where we're in the middle. So now we can reuse that one down over here by pressing escape and just kind of poking my nose over this way and doing my angle up. And that will allow us to see a few things here. So here we go, pressing play. And then we're going to do one more final change after he gets his couple of buckets of water in here. We're going to change one more position, then we're going to save out our thing, and then we're going to play it, and I'm going to show you guys how it came out, and then I'll set it in the queue to be rendered. Once it's in the queue, you don't have to worry about it. You can delete the keyframes, and you don't have to worry anymore about any of that stuff. So for this next shot, what I think I might want to do is get a little lower. Now you got a bit of a problem. When you want to get low, the camera clips. It goes into surfaces. So like if I go here, I know that the camera is going to clip right through this edge. So you got two choices. You can go a little higher, or you can make an intervening shot. So let's say for my final shot, I want to be low. I want to be like right here on the water. And I want to frame my shot out. So let's use this side wall here. We'll use that angle in that corner on the bottom here. We'll make this be my little angle. This is where we're going to go. But we don't want to clip through this ground. So we're going to go here to this. Then we're going to go up here to this previous camera point. Take our yellow bar, move it right in between the two of them, and try to find somewhere here that will bring this angle in the controlled direction that you want. So here we are. I'm going maybe to say here. Press T, add your keyframe, and now we're here, and now we can press play. It's going to catch itself up just fine. And we can get our last couple of shots. It's probably our last shots for this video, so that's pretty good. We're doing great. And we'll just stay here. We might drift forward a little bit. If we decide to drift forward a bit, we'll just press escape. We'll gently move the camera just a pinch. Don't want to go too far. And line up maybe to another corner like right here. And put in our camera and press play. And I will show you what the difference between the Catmull ROM interpolator and a regular default interpolator is like here in a GIF. If you give me a second, if I can find a good scene that will showcase that, I will do that. Alright, so we're coming to about the end of our little camera path that we're going to save. Okay, these last two blops, I like to end on one of these larger bars. That's just my personal preference. Here I am drifting away on camera. That's a good spot to end it at. This is our final keyframe. And our final bit of stuff. So, first off, we need to show you a little bit about the Complementary interpolator, how that works. So let's see if I can find a good camera set. We're going to want to see that. So let's look at this drifting camera set here. It's going to take a minute to load. We're going to see how that looks. Oh, it didn't work. Excuse me. I pressed the wrong button. You gotta press the bottom play button. This is the Gunpowder Creeper Farm, the same one that I made over in the Philosophy SMP. I'm building it over in BlissWorld. This is my construction of it. You've probably already seen it partially built out there by that broken village where I work. But that's what the farm is. It's basically a mob farm, but then I add the trap door so that it only can spawn creepers and spiders. So this is what the camera work is like if we're not using a Complementary default interpolator. Let's take a look here and see how it is. We're using just default right now interpolator. So you can see that there's a little drift. It doesn't stay nice and, you know, perfectly angled. You see we've got all this drift going on here. See how my camera's kind of drifting over to the left, even though it's supposed to be focusing over to the right. It's just drifting over that way, and now it's going to drift over towards the right-hand side of the screen. And sometimes it's even worse. You don't get the exact, like, in between. Like, if you want to have a camera go between, like, a couple of pillars or something, it's impossible to do with the, you know, default interpolator 9 times out of 10. It's not bad, though. I mean, this is watchable. I'd watch this footage. It's not terrible. But to fix that, what we'll do is we're going to do a Complementary. Now, the problem with the Complementary is it's a little abrupt. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. The default interpolator tries to smooth curves out. The Complementary makes it more like this is going to do exactly what you wanted it to do. I messed up with the setting there. I didn't want to touch. Okay. So let's try this again. So now we're going to go in here with the Complementary interpolator. And I don't know what the other interpolators do and what their advantages or disadvantages are. I only ever use the two right at the moment. I still am not a very advanced user of this. I'd say I was beginning to intermediate at best. Probably all kinds of stuff that I could do even better if I knew a little more about the program. But as you can see, going backwards even a few frames takes about 1.5 years. Now the Complementary is going to try to give me exactly what I want. And as you can see, we're not drifting. We're going straight ahead. It's doing a straight line. It's not going to smooth it out at all. But then you're going to see the rough right here where it's got a curve. And what I might do is a hybrid. I might actually put a default right here because I want that curve right there. See this? It's not terrible. I mean, I can live with it. It's actually, I kind of like it, so I might just live with it. I don't think I need to have an extra curve. But now you can see there's no drift. It's going exactly where I told it to go. It's facing exactly where I want it to face. And that's a little tip for you, Black Belt, to help you with your camera work in ReplayMod. Double click on the camera node and go to Complementary interpolator and see how that helps you. Here we're drifting along as we're adding our water, and it's going to perfect speed. It's like we're kind of chase camming my guy there for a minute or two, so that's pretty sweet. Slowly drifting into place for our, and I keep messing up and not getting up above where I need to get. But now we're going to go up and get some water, and that's going to end the footage. And now what I want to do is I want to show you how it works to go into the head. I won't play the whole, well, we can play the whole clip, but I won't play the whole clip here. We'll do it in fast forward mode over in my video editor here in just a second. I gotta change to a desktop viewpoint. Anyway, it'll end here right at the end keyframe. Alright, so we've got our camera frame. I gotta render it out. I gotta figure out something to do while it's rendering, because I can't really edit it in a video editor until it's rendered. But let's go here really quick and show you how it works to use the, basically to put the camera inside the character and come back out again. And that's using the B button, and you can check your lines down there that give you the options, and it tells you the name of that command. I don't remember the name now, but I said it earlier. Okay, blah. Now the problem with the rendering process is it's going to slow your system down quite a bit, uses a lot of resources, so be aware of that and make sure you turn your shaders on before you go into the rendering. So here we are currently kind of drifting, getting into where our character is basically going to be is what's happening here. This is how it works for the coming into the character. So all of a sudden we're inside now. So you just got to be aware of those transitions. It's going to try and drift down to the place where the character is going to be when you go into the character. And then when you come out of the character, now it's going to come out and go to whatever position that you want. But just something to keep in mind. You have to really kind of fuss with it to get a really good idea of what you're after there. If you right click here on this backwards on the Z, that puts everything on the timeline back to the beginning, and then you can play and watch it through if you want. We're going to go ahead and try to render it. I'll show you how to save it, give you the options one more time. And then we'll figure out something to do while it's rendering. Oh, I gotta make sure to turn on the shaders. I want to render it with the shaders. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. I don't know if it renders as vanilla, if you rendered in vanilla or not. Could not tell you, I do not know. So I'm gonna press T. I'm gonna go over here to render camera path. We're gonna call this BW18. Add current configuration, change the name. We want the name to be a capital BW1. Wow, that's not working very well. What the heck is not working at all? Getting some lag from somewhere. Okay, press save, and that will take another second. I don't know why. We're getting lag. So we want 20 Mbps for your bit rate. You want to match your frame rate and your size to whatever it is that you're using, and all the other settings I think are the same, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But these are the important ones right here. Don't make it any higher quality than that, you're going to have some issues. Anyway, I'm going to add the queue, and now I can come in here to this, click on it, and you can press Control to select multiple different files if you need to. But I only need the one, and I'm just going to go in here and go to render selected. Now we got to wait. Oh, and I messed up. I got to cancel. I forgot to turn on our shaders. We need to have our shaders on when we render our file. I'm pretty sure we're going to want that. So I got to wait for it to show up, and this will be a good test, see if we can get it to cancel, because I've got some lag on my system right now, probably because I'm streaming at the same time I'm trying to do this. Yeah, it's really slow right at the moment. Cancel rendering. Yes. Alright. So here you can open your video folder if you want to drag it to your editor from there or upload to YouTube. Don't forget that when it comes back in here, as soon as you start trying to move around the mouse, you've lost your camera position. So don't forget that. Make sure you immediately press T when it dumps you into the screen so you don't lose your camera position. Going back to, oh wait a minute, I need to go to escape, need to go to options, need to go to video, need to go to shader, need to enable my shaders, press apply, and the world is gonna look less like barf. But you're not gonna be able to see anything because I've got issues with the game right now. Give it a minute or two to render. In fact, I am going to zip out of my... See, I do not know what is causing this silly black thing going on. I'm going to find out what it is, but that weird black covering the whole screen is a major issue. I want to wait until this renders out enough of the surrounding area that I know that the replay recording is not going to have any issues rendering everything it needs to render that's going on around. So I'm going to give it a minute or two to load up all of its stuff, smooth out the edges, give me the fog, do all the things it needs to do. And I'm actually going to call that good enough, I think, for right now. So now I'm going to press this, not escape, press T, go to the render camera path, click on this, and now we're going to go to render. Yeah, you want to render your replays with shaders. I don't know if it makes a difference. I don't know if it'll render with shaders if you have them turned off or not. I assume that it won't render with shaders unless they're turned on in your Minecraft game, but I don't know. But that's my assumption. I don't think anybody wants vanilla ReplayMod unless you're doing SMP or something where that's how they work. Oh, I have yet to see anybody on Hermitcraft try to do any kind of shaders. Kind of interesting. Alright, so let's find something that we can do while this is rendering away. I don't think we can play any Minecraft while this is rendering. I believe it's running Minecraft 1.19. We can open up the editor and I can give you guys a brief introduction into what DaVinci Resolve looks like so you guys can take a peek at that. Oh, and we need to get into a different viewpoint. Okay, need to capture. Yawn. The desktop. Where's my desktop? There's my desktop. Turn off Minecraft. Turn on desktop. Hello, desktop. How you doing? Okay, it makes sense. I mean, it makes logical sense to me that you would have to have the shaders on to be able to render them. So we have moved from Kdenlive as my video editor to DaVinci Resolve 18. And this is the free version. There aren't limitations like you would normally think of limitations with the free version. Most of the stuff you get with the pro version is stuff that you would want to have in the pro version anyway. So something has happened. I don't know what has happened. We might have run out of RAM. Let's go check it out here after this loads. It crashed, it looks like. May not let me do anything then while I'm rendering, so I may not be able to render the video for you guys. I'll have to do that maybe in a separate live stream when I've got the ability to have it rendered out already and I can show you in the editor. Yeah, this isn't even trying to load right now. And I didn't think it was that big of a memory hog. It seemed to be working pretty good for me. The game crashed. Alright, so we'll render it later, but that was basically the essentials of what you're going to need to know in ReplayMod and a few additional tips and tricks to help you out. I will go ahead and proceed if I can get Resolve to actually load, and it may not want to load. I can't get my Streamlabs to minimize. Trying to remove its focus. I don't think this was going to hurt anything leaving that open. Give me a second. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on here. Maybe Minecraft is still running in the background. Let's see what we've got. Under memory. Alright, I've got nobody taking up too much memory under CPU. Nobody's taking up too much CPU. Performance is good. So why it's being a putz and giving me a bad time, I don't know. So I will render it later, and maybe next week during the live stream I'll go over some things you can do with it, but I can maybe do some of that now. Maybe I'll just show you by when I get the video done. Maybe we'll just see then how it works, and I won't return to it. I don't know. This is DaVinci Resolve, folks. And if I press Alt and I zoom myself out, you can see I've got some footage around here. Here is some ReplayMod footage that I've done. So all I'm going to do with the footage that we just got, when I get a chance to render it out, in Resolve, all you do is right click and you can go here to change clip speed. And I go to 400 or 240 frames a second. I don't go any faster than that. I think that's about right. Keep the maintain timing and all of this stuff. And I do the same with normal parts of the clip that I want to fast forward, like I have over here with this stuff. But that's all I do here. And that's all I'm going to do with that. And then any parts that are in the clip that are too slow or not enough going on, I'll just simply cut them right out of there. I won't even keep them in there. Then the other aspect is over here. If you have a normal, I want to check something here. I'm still learning my way around this program. If I go in here to change speed, it was different for some reason, and I don't know why. Same options. But it kept the size that it didn't shrink. And this parts of the video should shrink when you do that. The ReplayMod clips will shrink when you do that. I don't know why it's not doing that in the main video. There's all kinds of things that DaVinci Resolve does that are more intelligent than I understand right at the moment. But same kind of process there with a normal clip. So that's what we're going to do later on with that clip. We'll render it out and we'll go into there. And I've already shown you enough of it to see how that's going to look. It's slow and it took looks like it's going to be a long clip on the stream, but when I get it reduced to a quarter of its speed, basically, I think that's about a quarter. 400 is about a quarter. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I may not have my math right, but when I get the speed reduced, it goes by a lot quicker. As we can see in this example from this clip right here that's coming in this upcoming video here, this is sped up to 400%, you can see. And I just use the same timings that I used in the clip we just did. You can see that it actually is going to be the perfect speed for to be able to follow along, not get too seasick or have a seizure or something trying to watch this stuff. And then the next step is to, of course, find the music track that fits what we're doing. And I have a variety of tricks that I use. I might rotate with the player, I might rotate against the player, I might zoom in or out towards the player, I might do a Superman flyby. You know, I got different things that I'm doing at any given time. And it's just a matter of figuring out how you want to tell your story of the item being constructed or being adjusted or whatever's going on in the camera. So we're going to go ahead and exit out of here. Let me know if you have any questions on any of that. And if you want to see more on DaVinci Resolve, let me know. Let's see if we can get back into Minecraft. And we'll end the video with a little building. We started a little bit late. We've been an hour now. We'll do an hour of building. Normal Minecraft building stuff, if it'll let me click my button. Ah, we're not clicking buttons. Is this going to crash on me? It's not letting me click or highlight anything. I can't do a thing. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, I think the program crashed, folks, because I see that my audio bar is frozen. I'll give it a second or two. Used up a lot of CPU, but my RAM is still good. Okay, do I have to crash out, really? I might have to. I wonder what is causing it to freeze up. Because there's plenty of memory. It didn't run out of memory. It doesn't have a high process. I can turn this off, but that's not going to change anything. Very odd. Alrighty, folks. I'm not sure how best to proceed, because if I exit this, I have to turn the whole stream off and restart the whole stream. I'm not sure to let me continue with the stream as is. So we might be done inadvertently tonight. I didn't intend for that, but I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'll leave a comment over here. This isn't letting me do anything either.